One of these days, I swear to you guys, I'm probably going to stop shooting these after midnight videos, because technically it's tomorrow now. But this is for yesterday, as in this video is for Tuesday. We went to beat-ups tonight, had a good time. I didn't really eat anything. Mom made me some deep-fried food for dinner, that was pretty awesome. And, kind of just sat around, listened to WNL, and it just ended, so I wanted to wait until that was over to shoot this video. I do want to talk a little bit about the 20th anniversary of Monday Night Raw. That was Monday night. And I've got, thanks to 4on1mania.com, I actually have the results in front of me, so I want to read those, and you get to watch me stare at a computer screen as I read this, so I'm probably going to go do that right now. We opened the show with Vince McMahon and came out. Before the show, we had a montage of the different various Raw themes throughout the years. From the Monday Night Raw theme, to the Warzone theme, to the Raw is War theme, to all the way to the current theme. All the different various bands that we've heard throughout the years on Raw. Vince McMahon opened the show, and basically he was quickly interrupted by the Big Show, complaining about being defeated by Alberto Del Rio on SmackDown on Friday night. And he was saying it was an unjust manner, and he wants Del Rio stripped of the title. Obviously, this did not work out, and this brought Del Rio and Ricardo Rodriguez out to the ring. And Del Rio is really growing into this babyface role, and I'm actually starting to like it. It's going to be interesting to see exactly where we go from here, and this, of course, is going towards the Royal Rumble, which we're going to see the rematch with Big Show against Alberto Del Rio. That was really interesting to see how that's going to work out. Now, Del Rio, of course, challenged the Big Show for that night, for Monday night, and he said no, he wanted the Rumble instead. So, like I said, we're going to get Big Show and ADR at the Rumble. So that's fine. That's alright. That worked just fine. We've had some Raw moments. The first of the night was when Bob Barker hosted The Price is Raw. The stuff with Jericho was just priceless. Jericho wearing the Chris name tag on his bare chest. That was hilarious. And of course when Bob Barker karate chopped current TNA Tag Team Champion Chavo Guerrero Jr. Very interesting. And of course we brought back from that, and we had Wade Barrett in the ring, which usually that's a death knell when someone's already in the ring and they don't get an introduction, because as I learned when we watched Raw last year live, we had people that didn't have ring introductions that were already in the ring when we came back from commercial. And sometimes, usually they lose. However, this time it was not to be. Randy Orton came out, and we had our first match of the evening, Randy Orton and Wade Barrett. It was a very good match back and forth. Barrett, of course, the current and reigning Intercontinental Champion. And I am pretty sure Barrett is on a collision course with Richie Steamboat, given what happened on Raw last week. I don't know exactly when that's going to happen, but if I was playing Armchair Booker, and I'd like to do that sometimes, I think there is money to be made with Wade Barrett and William Regal in his corner against Richie Steamboat with his dad, of course, Hall of Famer Ricky the Dragon Steamboat in his corner. I think when Steamboat gets brought up to the main roster, I really think that's going to be who Barrett's feuds with. And I have zero problems with that, because that'd be awesome, because Richie Steamboat is really good. And to the surprise of everyone, and to my happiness, Wade Barrett got the clean win. He hit the bull hammer, and clean win over Randy Orton, clean pinfall win over Randy Orton. No ropes, no tights, no shield interference, nothing. Barrett won clean, and that was awesome, because I really think it's time to pull the trigger on Wade Barrett. Because, of course, since the Nexus, I've been a big Wade Barrett supporter, and I really want to see Barrett do more, and I think Barrett is one of the future 5 stars of the company, and I'll bring up who those people are as we go on with the 20th anniversary of Raw. Of course, we had the Rock concert be promoted, and the announcement of who would be the first inductee into the 2013 Hall of Fame. And then we went to a promo with Eve Torres backstage with Booker T and Teddy Long. And one of the funniest things about that was when Eve slapped Teddy Long right across the face. So that was really interesting. And then we brought up the continuation of Dr. Shelby having the visitation with Daniel Bryan and Kane. And of course, it went seemingly okay until they brought in Mustachio himself, Cody Rhodes, and Damian Sandow in for a little bit of different type of therapy. So basically, they had a little back and forth for a second, and then Damian Sandow questioned Dr. Shelby's credibility and compared him to Dr. Phil, and that was enough to frustrate Shelby to sick hell no on the challengers to the tag team titles at the Rumble. I do find it hilarious. I think that the two of the best storylines in wrestling right now are Hell No and Bad Influence, because everybody knows I'm a big Christopher Daniels fan, and I love Bryan Danielson, so I really like what they're doing with Danielson in WWE right now. The Daniel Bryan character is priceless. Usually I'm not big on the beard, but for Daniel Bryan's character, it does work really well. And I really like the fact that he brought up the fact that one of the things he likes most about Kane is the fact that he can light things on fire by raising his arms. And that's just funny. And Kane, of course, talked about Bryan's beard, which is monumentous in its own right. It is a really awesome beard. And the segment ended with the attack on the Rhodes Scholars knocked them off camera. And then Kane, Bryan, and Dr. Shelby doing the yes chant. And the crowd just ate it up. It was a great segment. I enjoyed it. This brought it into a singles match with Damian Sandow against Kane, which Kane won handily. Got a really quick win. Match was under 2 minutes long. We are leading towards Rhodes Scholars winning the tag belts at the Royal Rumble. And that's fine. I don't think this is the dissolution of Hell No yet. I think that there's a little bit more left to go with it before we go to the feud that is coming in the future with Daniel Bryan versus Kane. I don't want Danielson to be a heel. I don't mind it. I like this tweener role we're doing right now. I think Daniel Bryan could be a top baby face for the company, and was in the past, and know he could be again. And I mentioned Wade Barrett as one of the top superstars at WWE's future, and Daniel Bryan is the second one, obviously. I am big on Daniel Bryan in more ways than one, and he deserves another world title reign. This time a little bit better than losing it in 18 seconds at WrestleMania to Sheamus. But that's another story altogether. We announced next that the first inductee for the Hall of Fame would go after the next commercial break. And sure enough, just like everyone on the internet found out and knew very well, Mick Foley was announced as the first inductee in the 2013 WWE Hall of Fame, which is awesome, and I have no problems with that. Foley getting the Hall of Fame is pretty cool. However, then we brought out the Shield, which was a total missed opportunity, because before anything happened with Foley, Foley was having a Twitter battle with Dean Ambrose, Jon Moxley, and that could have led to something, and it should have led to something. But the second the Shield hit the ring, Foley powdered, and this brought out Roydberg to the ring to try to make the save. And of course, he gets attacked, and then Randy Orton comes out, then Sheamus comes out, and then we got ourselves a possible six-man tag on the horizon. Orton, of course, is hurt. He's got a separated shoulder by a vicious attack from the Shield. Shield doesn't like Sheamus, and of course, the Shield doesn't like Ryback as well. As anybody knows me knows, I do not like Ryback one iota. I think he's getting way more than he deserves. I understand he is a student of the game. He understands how the business works, but he's not ready yet. He may be in the future, but not quite yet. Maybe a little bit more seasoning. Maybe put him in the ring with some more superstars that make him work for it. Like that weird match with Jack Swagger, which is pretty much his Goldberg-Regal match that was on Nitro. That we pretty much just exposed Goldberg for what he was. I think the match with Jack Swagger did just that as well. And of course, the stuff he did with Tensai, just terrible, 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 terrible. It's terrible, man. We had a video montage of different gimmicks of the past on Raw. We brought up various names like Bastion Booger, Gilbert, Max Moon, the Sultan, William Regal's old gimmick of the Real Man's Man, which if you go back on YouTube, and obviously it's not on my channel, but if you look for it, you'll find it. Regal had a match. I don't recall what show it was on, but as a rib, when Regal was coming out and he was coming out to this dun 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 that music, or a version of it, because that was a terrible rendition of it. What we had was someone stopped the music and started with the Real Man's Man theme, and Regal lost it right walking down the aisle. He started smiling and laughing. It was hilarious. Check that out on YouTube. It's some funny stuff. And of course, this also mentioned Beaver Cleavage, the Sultan, Gold Dust, which in the stuttering gimmick, and the Boogeyman. So that was pretty cool. It was nice seeing some names from the past. Surprised Damien Demento didn't get brought up, but given the fact of what he thinks of Vince McMahon, I'm not completely surprised. Up next, we saw Eve defend the Divas Championship against Caitlyn. Now, everyone on the internet knew this was Eve Torres' last night with the company. She wants to focus more on her reality show, and I don't know exactly what else she's doing, but she quit the company, and Caitlyn got the win with a tremendous spear. Great sell from Eve Torres on this final match. But the problem is the Divas division is now in shambles because there's nowhere to go from here. The direction that I would go at this point is something that has been discussed, is have AJ win the belt. AJ beat her former best friend. And then we build up to the return of Amy Dumas at WrestleMania. So Lita and AJ can be the match at Mania. Of course, that would be AJ's dream come true because we saw her being a big fan of Lita from the past and all the pictures from the past when she was a little girl. When she first came into the company, I really think that would be a good direction to go. And it'd also be nice to see Lita back in a WWE ring again. So, you're welcome for that idea of armchair booking. Josh Matthews, of course, was interviewing the New Age Junkyard Dog, aka Brodus Clay. And he took offense to the shuckin' and jivin' comment that Punk made last week on Raw during his pipe bomb promo. So after the Raw moment with Donald Trump, watch The Apprentice coming in March. Everyone should because it's going to be awesome. It's Apprentice All-Stars, Penn Jillette for the win. And don't forget, I will be doing weekly Apprentice updates every single episode to tell what I think of the cast and what they're doing. But that'll be coming in March. I guarantee you that. Mark my words. It's another thing to come on this YouTube channel. We had a match between Brodus Clay and CM Punk. Now, you know what? Brodus Clay, since the Funkasaurus gimmick started, the music is catchy. And the Funkadactyls are very attractive. And people enjoy watching them dance. And I enjoyed watching Brodus do Gangnam Style. But I think Bad Influence do a whole lot better. And this match could have been really good for Brodus Clay. And it wasn't. It was kind of an elongated squash, which is very strange when the guy's over 300 pounds and a former monster. They could have done a lot more with it. Punk tapped him out with the Anaconda Vice, proving a point. And then, of course, he cut a little promo, and basically he tapped out Brodus Clay and bringing up the fact that for 421 days, as of Monday, CM Punk has been the WWE Champion, which is unheard of and unprecedented in this day and age, of course. So, that was interesting. We saw best vehicular moments. We saw Austin driving his various contraptions, the Zamboni, the beer bath, ADR hitting Cena with his vehicle, and of course Eric Bischoff being tossed in the garbage truck after being fired. Foley and The Rock had a promo backstage, and of course Vicky interrupted them and berated both superstars. Foley wondered why The Rock didn't go off on her, basically said, have some faith in me, I know what I'm doing, and you might want to watch The Rock concert, and we'll find out what happened later. Sheamus came out for an over-the-top rope challenge to put over the Rumble against the three-man band, who are quickly becoming three of my favorite talents on Raw. I was never really big on Jinder Mahal. I've always liked Drew McIntyre, and I've always seen something in Heath Slater that most people don't. And I think that this group works. It works in a West Texas Rednecks type, because everybody knows I'm the biggest Kurt Hennig fan that exists on planet Earth. I think this could be a good version of the West Texas Rednecks for this day and age, but this time it's a rock band, not a country band, so it's completely different, but it's completely similar at the same time. But then again, there's nobody in that group that can work like Kurt Hennig. So I think McIntyre is probably the workhorse of the group, if I had to guess, if I had to put three of them in the ring. And Jinder's pretty much untested, because most of the stuff he's done in WWE has been kind of forgettable, but his NXT stuff's been pretty phenomenal, so interesting to see what we do with that. And of course, via nefarious means, 3MB win the match, and they take the brogue kicks from Sheamus, of course, after it, including one where Slater was up on Jinder Mahal's shoulders and brogue kick while Slater was on the shoulders, and then after Slater got knocked off, Jinder Mahal ate the brogue kick as well. So it was interesting to see 3MB win the actual match. Even though it was an over-the-top rope challenge, it was 3-on-1, but still, it worked. John Cena was interviewed backstage, and John Cena is, like I said, starting to grow on me, even though the internet wrestling community are kind of turning on him, and they've been turned on him for a long time. They're getting tired of Super Cena, and I'm tired of Super Cena, but Cena's promos are interesting, and they're really smarky, extremely smarky. Talking about the 20th anniversary of Raw, he name-dropped a bunch of names. He even brought up Braden Walker. Poor Chris Harris. So, he basically said that the ring belongs to him and Dolph, and to get the F out. So, that was interesting. Obviously, another person that I appreciate very much is The Miz, and he's another superstar that is definitely a future superstar. I'm not sure about the babyface turn. I don't mind it, but they need to push it better, and I think this feud with Antonio Cesaro, which I'll get to in a minute, of course, Cesaro is definitely one of my future superstars, definitely one of my 5, for sure, without any question. I think that's going to be really good for him. Miz came out, did a promo with the Nature Boy Ric Flair. Flair came out, Elba dropped his jacket, did a bunch of wooing, cut some pretty non-PG stuff, and basically, it was a huge mark out for The Miz. So Mike Mizanin as a person probably loved his life being able to work with Ric Flair. And of course, this brought out Antonio Cesaro. And Cesaro made fun of Ric Flair, said the 4 Horsemen symbol is basically for his 4 ex-wives now. And this feud that we've got with The Miz and Antonio Cesaro coming up is going to be amazing. Because Claudio is incredible. And he's extremely strong. He knows how to work the mic. He's great in the ring. I think Claudio is a future superstar, and I really think sooner rather than later, Claudio is going to get the trigger pulled on him. And his U.S. title reign is working really well for me, and I think this feud with The Miz will work pretty well as well. And of course, now Miz using the figure 4 leg lock as he used on Raw with Antonio Cesaro, and also he uses on SmackDown this Friday night, spoiler alert, when he defeats Primo. So that happens, and he's like doing a Ric Flair. Maybe Flair's going to mentor The Miz. That might be interesting. I'm interested in that. That'll work. So, of course, we had another Raw moment, which we go into the Mike Tyson, Steve Austin battle, and that was really interesting, the pull-apart they did on Raw. And we brought up Daniel Bryan, of course, against Mustachio, Cody Rhodes. Bryan goes over, of course, with the no-lock out of nowhere, less than a minute and a half, about a minute 16. It was really quick on that. Eve Torres quits the company on WWE Active. So that's the end of it. She said she doesn't want to deal with it anymore, and she just quit. So goodbye, Eve. Sorry. I don't think you'll be in TNA, because I think you're done with wrestling, but oh well, no big deal. No big loss either. We had a segment with AJ and with Biggie Langston, which really is... God, I just don't like Biggie Langston. I understand what they're going for, and I really think that the bodyguard role could be put over by someone else. Someone else in NXT, definitely not Biggie Langston. Biggie Langston's terrible. He cannot talk. He's a one-hit wonder. He's a bad bodyguard because obviously he doesn't protect Dolph Ziggler, as we found out later on in the cage match. We'll get to that in a minute. AJ was talking about love and brought up the AJ and Lita wedding, of course, ruined by Kane. Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, of course, their nuptials ruined by Triple H, pedigreeing Vince McMahon, and the demon stare from Stephanie that ended that program. And, of course, the final one was her almost nuptials with Daniel Bryan. So, Ziggler came out, comforted AJ, basically said that he's going to cause Cena some pain, like the same pain that he caused AJ. And he's proving to the world that he's that good. He's going to call this the greatest show-stealing performance in the history of Monday Night Raw. And, of course, he ends it with the tagline that we know very well from The True Long Island Story, rest in peace, show off. So, JR came out, deservedly so, to call the main event. and that was awesome because it was JR, it was JBL, and it was Jerry the King Lawler as your commentary team for the main event on Raw, and I have zero problems with that. Now, the main event. Ziggler threw everything but the kitchen sink. I know it's a cliched term, but it's a shoot. When it comes down to it, Ziggler threw everything. We had the sleeper hold. He had that on. He hit the new super kick, which is new. It seems to be his new finish. Hit the zigzag. I mean, he hit this massive DDT right off the top rope. And Super Cena kicked out every time. Now, I don't like calling him Super Cena, but when you do matches like this, there's nothing else you can do. Honestly, Biggie Langston got in the ring. He was going to use the briefcase, and he ended up getting clocked with it. After all that, just one attitude adjustment, done the party, and Dolph loses. And I'll tell you what, it would not have hurt John Cena to lose. Trust me. They're going to have to pull the trigger on Ziggler one way or another. And like I said, he is definitely the future of the company without any question. The Rock concert, the Paul Heyman stuff at the beginning was absolutely stupid. I didn't like it at all. It's very juvenile, very childish. Didn't like that. I'm a Vicky Guerrero fan. I'm sorry, I'll admit it. I'm a Vicky fan. But when it comes down to it, I'm sorry, but Wonderful Tonight, just listened to it a few minutes ago again on WNL, and it's just hilarious. I mean, go back and watch that segment again just to listen to The Rock's love letter to Vicky Guerrero doing Eric Clapton's Wonderful Tonight. Just hilarious. And I'm a Vicky fan. So, of course, we got down to that. And he calls out Punk. And they come out without any fanfare, without cult of personality. And eventually, basically, Punk's just holding the belt up in the air. Rock's talking about factoids about 421 days. He couldn't be stopped. And he, of course, downgrades Paul Heyman because he's fat, really. And, of course, all the Mark crowd in Houston was chanting along with him because it was saying along with the Rock time. But that works, I guess. Punk is not God. The whole boxing with God thing, which is a brilliant line from the Pipe Bomb last week. And he basically said he's going to beat Punk for the belt in 2 weeks at the Rumble. Punk ran to the ring, and we had a brawl. And the cool thing about that brawl, it was an awesome pull-apart, and we got to see Fit Finlay and Arn Anderson a part of it, so that was really entertaining. As a whole, the show was decent. I mean, I prefer Genesis to the 20th anniversary of Raw, without any question. The match quality, for sure. We had some decent matches. I was very happy with Wade Barrett going over Randy Orton. Very well-deserved and awesome. I was happy with what they did with Antonio Cesaro. His feud with The Miz is going to be great. And I was very happy with what Dolph Ziggler got in that match. And Ziggler, of course, was the superstar in that match, regardless if he won or lost. But that was interesting. And as a whole, for a wrestling show, for a regular Raw, it was a good show. For a 20th anniversary show, it was a little lackluster. No one was there. No one showed up. We had Foley, we had The Rock, we had Ric Flair. We didn't have anyone else show up. No superstars from the past. I know Shawn Michaels and Stone Cold Steve Austin both in Las Vegas for, I guess, something called the SHOT Show. Whatever that was. The Undertaker wasn't there, but then again, there's no reason to bring Undertaker in because his program looks to be with CM Punk. And we can't start that until at least after the Rumble. Or, and if you go by my booking, after Elimination Chamber, because I think Punk's winning at the Rumble. And I think Rock's going to win at Elimination Chamber. Because that's what I end up seeing happen, honestly. And I think they'll tease Rock and Cena at Elimination Chamber as well. But, of course, it's not going to work. Cena will be eliminated or somehow, so Rock can win. And it doesn't hurt Punk at all, and that's good. But overall, it was a decent show, and I just wanted to tell you what I thought of it. Like I said, kind of disappointed it for being a show for the anniversary of Raw. Kind of a letdown, but as a regular Raw, it was fine. It was okay. I might be reviewing TNA Impact on Thursday, which of course is the upcoming nuptials of Bully Ray and Brooke Hogan. So that'd be interesting to see how that happens. The ongoing Aces and Eights, and my boy, the Fallen Angel Christopher Daniels' quest to become finally the TNA World Heavyweight Champion when he faces Jeff Hardy on January 25th. But I'm going to get off here. I'm going to get some sleep because I'm exhausted from the day. I'm going to shoot another video tomorrow, so I will see you guys in the morning / afternoon / evening. So I'm not sure when that'll be, but until next time, that's all I got to say about that.